All right, today it is chicken. It is chicken time. Everybody loves chicken. And if they don't, what they're eating, they're probably saying, that kind of tastes like chicken. So, I mean, everybody loves a good chicken. Harold, how are we going to prepare this thing today?
We're going to open these up here in a minute, and we're going to do a little trimming on them. And but one of the things that as I was telling you a little bit ago, a lot of people are going to see it's fixing to happen, and they're going to say, he didn't wash that, and one of the things I've had several chefs through the years tell me is one of the easiest ways to get cross-contamination is washing chicken. It's washed before they put it in the package.
Interesting.
And but what happens whenever you're putting that under the water in your sink, you're throwing all this everywhere, and cross-contamination is a huge, and salmonella is a big problem with chicken. That's why we're going to make sure we trim it right. We're going to make sure we cook it to the right temp, and we're going to be good to go. So,
all right.
But then these are some good-looking chicken breasts.
Let's do it. So literally just got these today at our local grocery store. You can buy them there. I tell you, one of my favorite places to get meat is from a local butcher. If you've got one near you, for the people in our area here in Chattanooga, I go to a place on Hickson Pike. It's Don's Meat Shop, and very good butcher. And if you ask them specifically for different kinds of cuts, they'll do that for you. So
and these, I'll be frank with you, they've been trimmed out pretty good, but we still going to take a little bit of this extra skin off, and
show them with that fat right there that you're going to trim that off. That's what fat looks like.
Trim this little bit of fat off. Looks like they've done a pretty good job of already trimming the rib meat off. I typically try to trim that off too, because you get quite a bit of fat on that as well. But we're not going to take much off of these at all. So these are good looking chicken breasts.
So while he's doing that, let's talk seasoning for this. There's different kinds. Okay, as you see, he's trimming that off right there. There's different kinds of seasoning. You can use an all-purpose seasoning on chicken, and it works just fine. But I'll show you one that is my favorite. This one is from Meat Church Barbecue. This is Honey Hog Barbecue, and this stuff tastes amazing. It's kind of sweet, so it's got that sweet barbecue flavor to it, but it's not overpowering. So it's really good. I use this on almost every piece of chicken I do now, regardless of what we're going to do with it. I end up using this. But we're going to use today.
Let me, if you don't mind, let me tell you a little story about Meat Church.
Okay, yeah.
Matt Pittman, who's a really good friend of mine, in Waxahachie, Texas, created this brand. Now let me back up just a little bit. Matt Pittman is a Chattanooga boy.
Is he really?
He is. He was raised here as a child. Moved to Alabama somewhere, as a young teen. And then later they moved to Texas, and so he's created this brand. I kid him all the time whenever I talk to him, because he basically got launched on the television show Barbecue Pitmasters, but he came in third. He lost. So, but it's a great brand, great products, reasonably priced, and just amazing flavor. And
I'm gonna tell you
and all around. And I tell you this: if you really want to learn how to grill, go to his YouTube. I mean, he's got a ton of videos.
Which is a great tip for everybody. A lot of the people that we've mentioned, I mentioned on the previous thing, Killer Hogs. That's Malcolm Reed. He's all over YouTube. It's how to barbecue right is his channel. Meat Church is on there. Great stuff there. All of these places, there's a lot of great places you can learn how to barbecue, and it's free. It's right there for you on YouTube. Today, we're using this. Now, you said this is kind of similar taste.
It's got a very similar taste. It's a good friend of mine in Canton, Georgia, Kevin Ward, who does the 441 South. He's actually got a barbecue restaurant down there. And if you look at the name of all of his rubs, they're his family members. This was his grandmother, Monk McGuire. Everybody called her Monk. But it is cool. It's a sweet rub that we're going to use. It's got a little bit of a honey powder in it, and it's going to really. We're also going to add an additional touch to this cook as well that you'll see here in a minute.
Excellent. All right. So getting this fat all trimmed off. Those are looking good. Yeah. You can kind of see what he's trimming off there.
Anything that's kind of hanging, I like taking off of it, because what's going to happen if you don't, whenever you put it on the grill, that's all going to just kind of lay there and it's going to look bad. And again, talk about how your meat looks, how you're cooking. It means a lot, at least in my book.
Yep. All right. So 3 prepped, 1 more to go here. So it's not a ton of time to prep these and get them ready. But these little touches are what make for a great presentation, great chicken breast. It's going to be super juicy all the way through. And I know what he told me a little bit about what he's going to do. And wow, you guys are in for a treat on this. This is going to be really good.
And now we're going to put the rub on them. We're going to lay over here and get them ready to go on the grill here in a little while.
You want any of the olive oil?
No, that's actually going in the pan.
Okay. Because I've done that before now. I've actually put olive oil on the chicken first.
I have.
And it may not be necessary. I may be doing something unnecessary here, so I'm going to learn something too.
It does give you a little bit of a binder. You know, as you know, there's different things we use as binders on like ribs and things like that. A lot of times, I mean, I'll use mustard, yellow mustard. It holds the rub on it. Doesn't affect the flavor.
Yeah, people ask, wouldn't that create a bad flavor? Because I thought that too.
Doesn't change the flavor at all because it actually breaks down. But again, as we talked about bark earlier, it helps to build that bark.
Got it.
And yeah, I go pretty generous because I want this to really set in. I want it to really add the flavor.
And when he says binder too, what I would do is I would take the nitrile gloves, I would take olive oil and just kind of put it on the gloves, and I would rub it onto that piece of meat all the way around, and then after that add the rub, and it just made the rub stick a little better. That's what binder is talking. What he means by binder.
Correct. And I've done, pork shoulders with it. I've done it without it, and it's kind of just depends on what mood I'm in.
Here, so here you go.
And there it is.
All right, we are prepped, ready to go. Let's get this chicken on the grill. Okay, there are tons of ways to cook chicken. You can just put it on the grill directly, kind of like we did the burgers last week. Let the flame hit it, and it'll cook. You can do that. Now, I did that for a lot of years and had a lot of charred outsides.
You will. You got to stay with it.
And a lot of dry chicken too when I did
exactly.
And I don't know about you, but dry chicken, blech, I don't like that. There's a method that you can do on a Kamado grill where you can do indirect heat that we talked about. I showed you the plate, and the flame hits that plate instead of directly hitting the chicken, and it goes around there and it bakes it evenly. That's a method. But there's another method to this too.
We're going to do something a little different today. We've got our chicken ready, but and I'm going to show you here. We raise this thing up. We're kind of a direct, but not quite.
There's something in between there. What is it?
We're going to go with cast iron.
Check it. Oh, we have a cast iron pan in this thing, and I'm going to tell you, these cast irons, I've kind of become. Well, let's put it this way. I started collecting these things. I got a little bit too many of them maybe in my house. And driving past when I go up 24 and I see that sign that says Cast Iron Lodge. I go, oh, there's the outlet. I got to just go see what they have because they have a little scratch and dent side.
Exactly.
And you can get them so cheap there.
I've got friends who will go to yard sales and they'll hunt cast iron because there's a lot of things you can do. I mean, I do in this very pot, I do believe it or not, a shrimp spaghetti.
Oh, wow.
That is just amazing. Cook my own sauce and everything in it. So
that's and I've done sauteed shrimp in it, but never that.
A lot of things you can do. And
wow.
But right now we're gonna lay this chicken.
But we had to prep this, and I tell you what, you guys, we're about to put this chicken in there. But real quick, let me show you what you missed just a second ago. Check this out. Okay, check this out. This is what we did a minute ago. This is what we were talking about. Show them what we did. Got the cast iron skillet in here and the olive oil.
We're going to add olive oil. We're going to pour about a quarter of an inch all the way around it. And then we're going to close this lid and we're going to let this thing get hot.
All right. So that's what you didn't see a minute ago. Okay, now you're caught up. Now you know what we did. So the oil's in there, the pan's ready to go. That oil adds a lot of flavor. And the cool part about cast iron is it retains a lot of those flavors.
Exactly.
The more you cook on it, the more you do the stuff, the more flavor it retains.
Correct.
And it's special just for that cast iron skillet. I mean, it's good stuff.
It is, and we're going to do something. I actually call this my rosemary chicken.
Okay.
We're going to lay it in there on one side, let it cook for a little bit, and then we're going to flip it, and then we're going to add some fresh rosemary to it.
Oh.
Adds tremendous amount of flavor.
This sounds great. Okay, so we already showed you how we seasoned this. Here it goes into the oil. And there's that sound we all love. Those are some big old chicken
breasts.
breasts.
Turn that one. Absolutely gorgeous.
Man, those look so good. Ready to close it down?
We are.
Wow, look at that. That's gonna be something. Oh, and it smells so good already. Wow.
Yeah.
The smell of that oil and that chicken together, it's amazing.
You'll get amazing flavor. And we're using olive oil, so you're not adding a lot of excess fat to it.
Right.
So,
olive oil's good. Good for you.
That's all I cook with.
Me too. All right, we'll be back in just a minute and show you what we're doing. I should have said this a second ago, and I apologize. We are cooking this at 350 degrees, okay? So whether you're using a Kamado grill, I mean, it doesn't have to be Kamado to do this. You can cook cast iron on anything. You can do this anytime on your stovetop, whatever, but 350 degrees is about where we're gonna hit for this chicken. And remember, the goal temperature of this, we wanna get it to at least 165 degrees for that chicken to be done. It's gotta be at least that much. We've got our temp gauge. We're gonna be able to put it in the chicken. You're gonna know, but you're gonna see that in a second. But 350 degrees is where this is set to. Okay, it's only been 3 or 4 minutes since we put these on here. Let's take a look at what we got right now. We got the temp gauge. Let's see where we are. Burp this. Always burp it. Let the air out so you don't get singed.
So we're at 120 already on the one side. So probably give it another minute or two, and we'll flip it.
Okay.
And then we'll be good to go.
Okay, here we go. Time to flip these again. I'm gonna burp it, lift it up, let the air in there so I don't burn my arm.
We're gonna flip them, and we're gonna add the fresh rosemary to it.
Man, look how juicy those things are right there. Look at that. That is amazing. Wow, this looks amazing.
Love it sound too.
Yeah, that's just the greatest sound. All right, now here goes the rosemary. Let's show them that.
We got just a few sprigs of fresh rosemary. We're just gonna lay right on top of the chicken. And it's just gonna add additional flavor, because what it's gonna do, it's gonna kind of work its way into the oil. I'll throw that one even over into the oil. And we'll just add flavor to it. So.
All right, so let's close this down and we'll be right back with this. Now, Harold, you eyeball this stuff, and I see you kind of glance at your watch every now and then, looking. How do they know how long to cook this and what to do?
You know, I've done this for a while. And,
oh yeah.
And I have a pretty good feel of when things should be pretty close to where I want it or not. But for somebody, most time, whether you've just started or you've been grilling for a few years, temperature is the most important, like we talked about earlier.
Internal temperature of the food.
The internal temperature of the food. This chicken, we want to have no less than 165 degrees. Now, if you hit 195 degrees, you probably overshot. So you're better off to check this more often. And 135, 145, then you'll get a feel for it. And over time, you'll kind of know, in about 5 minutes, that's going to hit about 145 degrees or whatever it may be, depending on where you're cooking at. We're cooking about 375 right now. So, we're probably getting pretty close.
Okay, well, let's check it out. Let's see what we got on the temperature.
See, we're 120 right now internal. They're a little lower on that one. I'm probably gonna move them around a little bit, like we talked about hot and cold spots earlier. You know, we're still, this one in the middle here is getting a little more. So, and if you notice, okay, I hit right here, where it says 146 degrees, but I'm looking for that dead center point in that.
Really important point there.
We're 120 degrees right there. So I'm going to move these around.
These are thick too. You can see from there, but some of these chicken breasts, I mean, they're that thick.
Because of their thickness, I am probably going to even flip it one more time just to add a little bit. So I'm going to take my rosemary off for just a second. Nothing wrong with doing this because it's actually going to add flavor to the all the way around it by doing it. But if you're just going with thinner breast, I would probably just cook it for a little while on both sides, and you'll be good to go.
It just looks so good.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Makes a great presentation on a plate. Move this one. We know this one's cooking a little harder than the other. And this is the biggest one probably right here anyway.
Right.
So we'll take him and just lay him right there.
And kind of slide the rest of that over. All right. I was going to say now we're cooking, but I stopped myself. I'm just sorry.
And I won't reach in there again with just my hands. So
yeah.
At this point, that's all getting pretty hot.
Right. All right. Ready to close it down?
We're ready.
Okay. Well, let's talk just for a second. A lot of the people on here, there's some people that they've grilled a lot and they're trying to learn different methods. Some of the people, they've never done this before. They're like me. I mean, before COVID, I had cooked toast and I cooked toast. See, that's how good I was. I'd made toast in the toaster and occasionally made brownies. And I think I said this to you guys before, but when I did the brownies, I actually left out the eggs. Which, when you bake those, just so you know, they're kind of like charcoal briquettes, and you skip them across the pond.
They get a little hard.
You can get like 4 or 5 good skips out of them. But I was terrible. I didn't know how to cook anything. So that was the whole thing coming into this during COVID, to learn how to do something. So I started learning to do this. But what do you say to somebody they're brand new? They're like, I don't know how to do any of this stuff, Harold.
Don't be afraid to mess up. You're going to mess up. I mean, there's going to be things you're going to cook. And in fact, it hadn't been too long ago, I cooked something I thought was going to be tremendous. We sat down at the table. I took a bite of it. Joy took a bite of it. And we both looked at each other and like, okay, it's takeout pizza tonight. It happens.
Good. It's not just me.
It happens. I will say this. Before you go out and buy a $50 steak, buy a $10 steak.
Great tip. Let's say that one more time.
But before you go and buy a $50 steak, and you can buy some really nice steaks, and you can spend $50. And I know we're going to be cooking some really pretty steaks, but
it's coming up.
Spend $10. And if you know what, if you overcook it, you don't like the way it is, do it again. Order pizza that night.
There you go. So don't be afraid to fail with this. That you fail by not trying. Okay, so keep trying.
Exactly. I mean, it's all it's about I guess the thing is, what I try to tell people all the time, don't stress over it. Make it fun. Enjoy it. If you go at it and want to stress over it, you'll mess up every time. But you'll find there's going to be things you really like. You're going to find there's going to be things that you look at and say, I probably won't fix that again.
Right.
So,
which has happened to me. A few of the things that I fixed, I thought, it was okay, but I wouldn't do that particular one again because it just wasn't me, and I wasn't really good at things. Though that I've had a few things that I've tried that I thought, man, this is so complicated. And I made bacon wrapped shrimp one time, and I had those big, huge jumbo ones. I'm talking the shrimp that are like that big.
Right.
And got the bacon, cut it up, wrapped it. I put some Monterey Jack cheese in there and speared that with a toothpick. Had the seasoning on there, all that, and I thought, this is so complicated. There's no way that it is going to come out right. And I cooked that. I'm telling you, it's one of the best things I ever did.
It's amazing what you can learn, and I mean, and I go back to something we said earlier. Go to YouTube. There's guys on there that have been cooking for years, and they know how to explain it in simplicity. And there's a lot of great recipes. I mean, green egg. Go to biggreenegg.com. There's hundreds of recipes there. Traeger.com, same thing.
There's the guy that does the cooking for Ace Hardware too.
Yeah,
That's on
Chef Jason Morse, good friend of mine.
Yeah,
and he, he's one of the most energetic guys you've ever
big
listened
personality.
to.
Yeah,
and I never will forget the first time I met him. Was in Chicago. I was walking by a booth. He goes, "Hey, I know you," and so we hit it off and become great friends.
Oh, that's great. So you got to be willing sometimes on some of this to be bad at it at first in order to get good at it. But try it, okay? So we're doing this recipe. We've done hamburgers. Now we're doing chicken. I hope sometime this past week you made burgers and tried, maybe went out and found some spices, tried something. And on this, try it this week. If you don't want to do rosemary, do something else. But give it a shot and see how it is. And then that's why we're here. You know, we're here talking to you right now, but we're also on Zoom with you right now. And you can ask us questions. If something doesn't work right, tell us what happened, and maybe
we'll come
Harold
up with a
will fix
solution.
it.
Hey, Ken calls me all the time.
It's the truth. Harold, okay, I've messed this up. What do I do? So I promise you, you can get this and you can do it. And
it's fine.
And I remember when I bought my big green egg, I got it into the house and I texted Harold and said, well, it's all set up. And Harold said, get ready to be the most popular person in your neighborhood. And he was right. It's because everybody at that point wants you to start fixing stuff for them. And the place, one of the places that my wife works, I sent something over there one time with her. I sent it's pork butt, so it's pulled pork, and everybody ate it. They ate hers, and so she calls up and goes, "Look, can you bring some more?" I was like, "Good grief, woman, how much do you want?" And she said, "No, they ate it all," and I had to take the whole tray over there. And now people from the work call and go, "What are you fixing tonight? What's cooking on the egg tonight?"
It's kind of funny, you know. You're here in my backyard. For some reason, the smell goes that way, and the house 2 doors down is always saying, "Well, we know what you cooked tonight."
That's good. All right. We ready to check again?
Let's check again.
All right, let's take a look and see what we have. Oh, wow. I can hear it already. Yeah, the internal's jumping right up now.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and flip them one more time, and we're going to be getting pretty close done. And we're there on that one.
Yeah,
so
that one's done.
I'm going to move that one probably towards the front.
Okay.
And we'll flip them one more time.
You couldn't see the internal on one of those. It was already up in like the 180s, 190s. So
and you haven't overcooked it at that.
Right.
Now, on a gas grill, you probably would have.
Right.
But because of what we're doing here, you're adding moisture to it. You're retaining moisture because of just the style of the grill. And, look at that.
Wow. That looks so good.
I will tell you this, be careful flipping these things, because if you splatter that oil out, you will get a flare up, and that cannot be fun.
And very, very important tip there. And you guys, I'm hoping you can see this, but he's not taking it and dropping it when he flips it over. He's taking it and gently setting it down into that oil to make sure there's really no splash and no splatter.
Right, because flare up means loss of arm hair, probably worse.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, almost done. All right, so we just were looking in here really quickly, and there are actually 2 of the breasts. They're done.
They're done.
They're ready to pull right now. 2 others that are not.
Right.
We put them all on at the same time. How's that happen?
Well, I mean, as you know, just looking at the meat, a couple of them are thicker. Plus, like we talked in an earlier cook, the hamburger cook, you're going to, unless you're going to light everything in there, you're going to have some hot and cold spots. And so, some of it's not going to cook quite as fast. That's part of the reason I moved them around a little bit. But we've got 2 that are done. And, rather than let them overcook, I feel like we probably go ahead and pull those off.
Well, let's get them. Right there. Wow, look at that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you're going to want a bite of this. This is, I can see the juices dripping on this right now. If you can you kind of catch that right in there? See the juices that just dripped out right there? And it's dripping all below that chicken. I don't want to put my hands on it and pick it up, but the juices are dripping out of this thing right now. This looks amazing. I can't wait to cut this open, see the inside of this, and also, of course, get a taste of it. But important note that they don't always cook evenly.
No.
Don't be afraid to pull 2 up and leave 2 on. Let them go until they're ready.
Yeah,
Again,
nothing else. You know, if you're waiting everybody to eat at the same time, turn your oven on about 200 degrees, stick it in there, and let it sit, and it'll be fine.
so internal temperature of,
Minimum 165.
but up to,
You know, you go up to 195 pretty easily. You know, again, cooking here and the way I'm cooking it, even if you go beyond that, you're not going to ruin the piece of meat. A gas grill, 195, 200 degrees, you've probably burned it up.
right, and you've got a crispy critter that breaks in half. So yeah, this is not, we're going to see this in just a minute. Okay, we'll be right back with the other ones, or I tell you, why don't we cut these open right here? Why don't we just go ahead and cut these open and we'll pull these
go
other
ahead.
stuff. Yeah, we don't have to wait for those to be done. I don't want to wait. All right, the moment of truth. Here we go. This chicken is off there. Let me just show you something really quickly. Can you see that right there? See those juices already? I'm just poking it right now. That's how juicy this is. But here we go. This is what everybody wants to see right here. And again, if I squeeze that, all those juices are running down right there. That is tender, juicy chicken, and I don't mind being the first one that's going to take a bite of this right here, because I'm going to do it right now. Oh my goodness. Wow. That tastes amazing. So good. Rosemary chicken. You can do this at home. You can do this. Get a skillet, get the olive oil, the rosemary, some of the seasoning, or if you don't want to do rosemary chicken, try something else. But whatever you do, try something this week. Don't be afraid to fail. Go out, do it afraid, do it wrong one time, learn from it, get better, come back, ask questions. We'll all learn together. But in the meantime, explore this chicken. It's really good. Harold, well done.
Thank you.
We'll see you next week. Steaks. You do not want to miss this, because not all steaks are created equal, and I promise you, not all the ways to cook this are created equal. You will not want to miss this. We're going to show you how to make a steak, make it right. Word of warning, you'll never, ever want to eat a steak in a steakhouse ever again after next week. Sorry, but it's the truth. We'll see you back next time. This has been How to Grill.